Since the inception of OnePlus's Nord lineup in 2020, it has been offering a classic OnePlus experience in the mid-range price segment. I personally liked the first-gen Nord and even last year's Nord 2 for that matter. But the cheaper entries in the series, notably the N series and Nord CE, have not really lived up to my expectations. It's also no longer a secret that since last year, OnePlus is heavily relying on Oppo for its budget and mid-range devices. And the latest goof proof of this merger is this phone, the OnePlus Nord CE2, which is basically a rebranded Oppo Reno 7 or Find X5 Lite after all. But I believe that for anyone who is considering buying this phone, the whole rebranding thing simply does not matter. So, is the Nord CE2 worth the price? And how does it compare against the similarly priced Realme 9 Pro Plus, which is a fantastic phone that we recently reviewed? Let's find all of that in this video. As usual, let's start with the design first. Here, OnePlus has gone with a Nord 2-like camera layout at the back, which looks pretty modern. Moreover, if you look closely, its rear panel blends seamlessly with the camera stack, a knockoff of the much more expensive Oppo Find X5 Pro. Oh, and the Nord CE2 skips an alert slider as well. Anyway, measuring 7.8mm thick and weighing just 173 grams, this phone feels almost non-existent in the pocket. OnePlus has achieved this impressive lightweight build partly thanks to the polycarbonate body and the plastic frames. However, the company could have struck a balance between premium build quality and lightweight design like the Realme 9 Pro Plus by providing a glass back here. To be honest, the glass sandwich build on the Realme 9 Pro Plus has quite a premium hands-on feel. And weirdly enough, I found the back of the Nord CE2 to be a bit hollow as well. I'm not sure if it's a manufacturing defect on my unit since I haven't seen any other reviewers complain about this. Regardless, the slim design feels quite ergonomic in the hands, while the slight curves at the back further aid in a comfortable grip. Getting to the front, it has the same 6.43 inches Full HD AMOLED screen as last year, but now OnePlus has gone with a tougher Corning Gorilla Glass 5 protection versus the AGC Dragon Trail on the Nord CE. Being an AMOLED panel, the core quality of this display is pretty good. In the default picture settings, the colors look pretty vibrant and punchy with a maintained contrast level. And I haven't faced any issues in terms of visibility on this thing either, be it indoors or in outdoor scenarios. You also get an in-display fingerprint sensor for biometrics here, which is quite fast and accurate. But despite being rated as an HDR10 Plus compatible display, the Nord CE2 cannot play HDR videos on major streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime. But you can still enjoy content in HD resolution thanks to the Wideband-L1 support. Moving on, the screen here refreshes at just 90Hz and the company has not even included a higher touch sampling rate here. It's just 180Hz. In comparison, the Realme 9 Pro Plus feels much more responsive as its touch sampling rate can go as high as 360Hz when you're gaming. Things don't look that well for the Nord CE2 on the audio front either. Just like its predecessor, the phone still ships with a single bottom-firing speaker, contrary to how most phones in this price range have a stereo speaker setup. This, I believe, is the limitation of relying so heavily on Oppo since it seems that OnePlus has not been listening to user feedback and conducting R&D of its own to keep up with the market standards. And because I have been testing a lot of phones with dual speakers, including the Realme 9 Pro Plus, going back to a mono speaker is quite an underwhelming journey. Let me play some music so that you can hear the difference on your own. As for haptics, I am not satisfied with its motor performance too. The keystrokes here are accompanied by a nasty feeling buzz. To compare, the Realme 9 Pro Plus offers a crisp and precise haptic feedback similar to what we see on a decidedly premium smartphone. OnePlus has ditched its warp charge technology in favor of Oppo's Super VOOC on the OnePlus Nord CE2. But as we all know, it's just the name. The core charging tech of these two brands have always been the same. Here, fueling up the phone is a breeze with its in-box 65-watt charger, which takes just 38 minutes to juice up the 4500 mAh battery inside. And the battery life on this thing is pretty good too. Under normal usage, which consists of a few sessions of PUBG Mobile every now and then, shooting photos and videos alongside casual web browsing, we were easily able to get around 6 to 7 hours of screen on time here. Now, getting to the performance side of things, the Nord CE2 brings a fairly capable MediaTek Dimensity 900 chipset at its core. On the contrary, Realme has bundled the 9 Pro Plus with Dimensity 920. While the 920 may seem like a superior chip, these two are essentially the same. Both are manufactured under a 6nm node, with the primary difference being the slightly overclocked Cortex A78 core on the 920. And the Mali G68 MC4 GPU is clocked a bit higher on the 920 as well. So you can expect a similar level of performance on both these phones. As for gaming, PUBG Mobile caps out at HDR graphics and ultra frame rates on the Oneplus Nord CE2, where it delivers a smooth 40 FPS gameplay even after half an hour of gaming. Similarly, Call of Duty Mobile renders a lag-free gaming experience under high graphics and very high frame rates as well. However, the Dimensity 900 does not do well against resource-heavy titles like Genshin Impact, especially at their highest settings. As you can see in this graph, at the highest graphic settings with motion blur turned off and frame rates set to 60 FPS, stutters start to appear from the very beginning of the game. Likewise, the phone starts to get warm around the camera module after just 10 minutes of Genshin Impact, although it does a good job of maintaining the CPU and battery temperature overall. So you have to dial down the settings to 30 FPS and graphics quality to medium to play Genshin Impact, where I was able to get fairly stable gameplay. On the other hand, Nord CE2's performance is pretty swift for day-to-day usage. We got the 8GB RAM variant for ourselves, whose memory management has been quite satisfactory, and the phone shows no signs of distress even under heavy multitasking. Plus, Oxygen OS is well optimized and there are no bloatware apps on the Nord CE2 either. The only major caveat here as far as performance goes is that this phone still boots on last year's Android 11. But good news is that OnePlus has promised 2 years of Android and 3 years of security updates on this phone. Having said that, Samsung has been going super aggressive in the software department recently, so much so that it guarantees 4 years of Android updates on its recent A series and even M series, while they already run on the latest Android 12. I know OnePlus's software commitment in the mid-range segment is still quite commendable over other Chinese brands, but at this point, Samsung is just too ahead of the competition. Okay, let's talk cameras now. The Nord CE2 has the same cameras as last year OnePlus Nord CE, at least hardware-wise. You are getting a 64-megapixel primary sensor, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, and a 2-megapixel macro shooter here. Now, I compared its cameras with the Realme 9 Pro Plus because, well, the 9 Pro Plus has the best cameras in its price range, and pretty much I found Realme's cameras doing a better job in most aspects. Here, the Nord CE2's images, like with most OnePlus cameras, is slightly heavier in contrast, which makes it look a little darker in some cases, while Realme's balanced contrast and punchier colors look very pleasing, at least to me. That being said, both phones maintain a similar level of dynamic range and details during daylight conditions. Talking about ultra-wide images, well, I found both of them to be average, and the difference only lies in the color tone, so I wouldn't say one is exactly better than the other. But portraits certainly look livelier from the Realme 9 Pro Plus. Realme does have a slight red tint on the subject, but they look better than the pale ones from OnePlus Nord CE2. Although the edge detection is similar in both, I found the background bokeh to look better on Realme. But when it comes to selfies, it's just the other way around. The Realme 9 Pro Plus retains pale skin tone while it also smoothens the subject a little bit, so I prefer OnePlus's output here. Additionally, Realme's photos have boosted white levels too. On the other hand, the Nord CE2 captures selfies with a much more balanced color science. Yet, the Realme 9 Pro Plus shows its true potential when it comes to low-light images. During nighttime, it captures more light by default and therefore brings out brighter and livelier photos. Also, the OIS kicks in during nighttime to produce better sharpness than the OnePlus Nord CE2. On the other hand, turning on night mode, Realme goes overboard with exposure and saturation, so the images look very unnaturally processed, while OnePlus just improves on the exposure and detail part of the night mode images. So the way I see it, Realme's cameras will yield better results when shooting in extremely low light conditions, while for casual shooting, OnePlus's night mode images will work just fine. Getting to videos, both phones are capable of recording at up to 4K 30 FPS. The Realme 9 Pro Plus manages comparatively steadier footages under this resolution. The same goes for 1080p 60 FPS videos thanks to the OIS on the Realme 9 Pro Plus. But I found the Nord CE2 shooting relatively less wobbly videos when turning on the ultra steady mode. Similarly, the selfie videos cap out at 1080p 30 FPS on both the devices, and as you can see, they both struggle to maintain background exposure. However, Realme's footages are still relatively more stable than the OnePlus Nord CE2. So after testing the OnePlus Nord CE2, I kind of have mixed feelings about the phone. It's not something that I would recommend there and there, but it's not particularly a bad phone either. It is a capable performer that offers a no-nonsense clean user experience, while it's also got a fairly reliable set of cameras. Having said that, OnePlus still is not able to catch up with the competition in the mid-range and budget segment just yet. If not a big upgrade, the company should have at least offered some quality of life improvements here, such as a glass back, stereo speakers, OIS cameras, and maybe even longer software updates as well. So unless you absolutely want the OnePlus experience, the Realme 9 Pro Plus feels like your safest bet right now, whereas the Xiaomi 11i with its 120Hz display, Dimensity 920 and 108 megapixel cameras is also a better option in this price bracket. So guys, that was all for our full review of the OnePlus Nord CE2. If you have any further questions about this device, or if you have any suggestions, do let us know in the comments below. Till then, I'm Pratima and I will see you in my next video.